back on another adventure. So this time we're in Northumberland, so we'll bring you along. See you in a bit. After a 3.5-hour drive, we finally got our first glimpses of the beautiful Northumbrian coast. First stop, Seahouses, for a whistle-stop visit. There's just something about a beach with big sand dunes and a sunny spring day that just brings out the best in everybody. It's just so nice, just get some fresh air, just hear the sea and get out and about for a nice walk. Anyway, so a little bit about later on in the week. So we're heading over hopefully to a bit further up the coast to Bamburgh to have a look at the castle. I also want to go to the Grace Darling Museum. So I've known the story about Grace Darling since I was a child, and she's a real heroine. She's fantastic. So more about that later on in the week. And we're going to head over to Holy Island at some point. So stick with us, I'll take you along for the ride. And just like that, it was time for us to head to our base for the next 4 nights, the Barn at Beal. Folks, it's an amazing campsite, but more about that later. So after tucking into homemade beef steak and Yorkshire puddings, we settled down for our first night. After a bite to eat and a quick weather check, we were on our way to Berwick-Upon-Tweed. Berwick was once an important garrison town. The ramparts have been restored by English Heritage and can be walked. There's no charge and they're open daily. Steeped in history, there's lots of information that can be gathered throughout the walk. The walk is circular and takes about an hour. If you're doing the Ramparts walk, it's well worth taking a detour along the pier. There's a sweet little lighthouse, and on the right day, the views across the sea will be wonderful, I'm sure. We didn't let the rain of Berwick dampen our spirits. We were soon back on the road again, this time heading for Bamburgh and its magnificent castle. So welcome back. We're now in Bamburgh. Now, we're about to visit the castle, and as I understand it from my tiny little bit of research, there's been a citadel here since AD 547, but in the 11th and 12th centuries the Normans vastly improved things. So as I understand it, it's the Armstrong family who are the current custodians of Bamburgh Castle. So we're off on a little trip, so come with us.
And that's no relation to stretch.
But the castle isn't the only magnificent thing about the village. It also boasts a wonderful beach. At first we thought the weather gods had cursed us, but after a swift, quick downpour of rain, this beautiful rainbow appeared. But it wasn't long before the sun would grace us with its presence once again. Pretty amazing afternoon here in Bamburgh. The sun came out after we had pretty torrential rain, but it only lasted for a few minutes, so it's been a really worthwhile afternoon. The beach here is just stunning. If you like beach walks, come to Bamburgh. It's definitely one to put on your list. We'll catch you in a bit. Morning everyone, and you find us in Craster this morning, and we are on our way to Dunstamborough Castle, is that right? Dunstamborough Castle? Okay, so we'll be doing the English Heritage Walk, and as I understand it, a little bit of history here for you. So in 1313 the castle that stands on the site was built by Sir Thomas Lancaster. It's now a ruin, and so it's pretty much a haven.
And that's no relation to birds.
Continuing on from yesterday's humour. Right folks, so we'll bring you back when we're actually on the walk. So as I was saying before I was interrupted by Doug's humour, the castle's now a ruin and it's a haven for a multitude of seabirds. Those of you who are eagle-eyed might have spotted the National Trust sign at the beginning of the walk. That's because the walk itself is managed by the National Trust. However, the castle is managed by English Heritage. If you want to visit the castle, you have to visit between the end of March and the end of September. Saddle Rock was a really unexpected find. It's a limestone formation that was formed 300 million years ago under intense heat and pressure. It's millions of years old, and yet it looks man-made. Fascinating. Welcome back everyone, and we have now reached the beautiful Embleton Bay. So I'm going to spring you around so you can have a look at this for yourself. and after all that walking, we'd worked up an appetite, so it was time to grab some delicious food from the Jolly Fisherman. So the walk to Embleton Bay via Dunstanburgh Castle's a steady one. It's undulating and can be uneven at times, but it's very enjoyable, and if you enjoy a beach walk, take yourself to Craster. I promise you, you won't be disappointed. So we rounded the day off with a lightning stop to Alnwick before heading back to the campsite and enjoying a quiet evening. Is this possibly the best campsite that we've ever visited? Find out in our next episode. Coming up, Holy Island and the Grace Darling Museum. If you've liked our content, then please like and subscribe and hit that hype button.